By the way, like my daughter got up at like 2 a.m. and I have not been to bed since. I couldn't sleep. So if my brain's a little fuzzy, that's why.
Hey, I get it, man. 2 kids. I got my little boy that's 1.5 screams twice a night.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're dealing with it right now. We are live, but we will wait a few seconds. I tell you what, I wonder if I could pull it up here. If not, that's cool. Actually, there's not even a volume on this big screen. I'd have to probably go behind it. But we got a few people jumping on. So, and more people will jump on. But what I want to do is just go ahead and throw it your way, which is, if you don't mind, tell everyone who you are, what you do, how you do it, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so Scott Moore, I'm in Oak Ridge, North Carolina, which is a little bit outside of Greensboro. Actually left my corporate job of 14 years in January of last year. So I'd worked my way up to the corporate ladder, regional health and safety manager, managed some medical clinics throughout the U.S. Figured up I was saving the company right around $350,000 in salaries by all the jobs alone that I took on, and got paid this much extra. And I said, you know what? I'm done. 12-hour days of Zoom. I was cooking dinner on Zoom. I was getting up at 2:30 in the morning answering emails that I didn't get to all day long. So I was burned out. So my wife and I finally took a much needed date day. And I said, what do you want to be? And she said, well, she asked me that. And I said, I don't know. And she said, what about a realtor? Because you've been investing for a while. And I said, like, who the hell needs another realtor, right? There's so many realtors, like, who needs them? But she said, you know what? They need a good realtor. And I said, you're right. Because I love what I do. And whatever I do, I bring my passion into it. So talked to another realtor, joined his team for a little bit, found out I didn't basically I wasn't a realtor at that point. I was kind of the admin. I didn't like running around dropping drop boxes off and signs in yards and stuff like that. And I'm like, I used to manage 17 people. I can do this. So I stepped away amicably with the other realtor, who was fantastic. I learned a lot from him while I was there. So that was a real blessing to be able to work under somebody for a while, especially someone as good as him. And then stepped away, kind of did my own thing. But I can tell you the first 2 or 3 months, I was like, what the hell did I do? I mean, Ruben knows, because Ruben reached out to me multiple times. So, I really started that process of trying to figure out, what am I going to do? Is this it? I called my old boss and said, hey, can we have lunch? Thinking, do I go back? And then, so I took a next step. And Ruben, I can walk through my presentation if you'd like to see that now, unless you have any other questions.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone can any of y'all relate with that? First 6 months in the business and you're like, what the heck is even going on? Stressed out, maybe even calling a past employer like, man, take me back. Yeah, I mean, that's all real feeling. So I appreciate you sharing that. And if you want, yes, go ahead and share your screen. Sure. And you can get started.
Sure, I am going to try this. Let's see how it works.
And for anybody who's watching, if you have questions, just post them below. We can see the comments. And if anyone in the room has questions, they're going to be asking questions as well.
All right, so let me see if I can share my entire screen. There we go. All right, so this is a presentation I kind of did a while back. Can you guys see my screen?
We can, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so this is my wife, my 2 kids here that I love to death, and they're really the name of the company. This is Grayson and this is Mackenzie, which is Gray Mac.
Oh.
So that way, I always keep that in the forefront of my mind as my why. Why am I doing this? And that's where the name comes from. So you guys heard a little bit about me. So I got a degree in fire safety engineering, worked in corporate world for 14 years. I love the people I work with, but got to the point where I hated the job. So the next thing is my big why. Let me just kick it up to present mode. Maybe that'll be easier.
Boom.
You guys can see. So I really had to step back and think, what is my big why? What do I care about? So, for me, it's travel. I love to travel. My little guy here helping me get caulk from Lowe's, my Elsa princess, those kind of things. She loves to ride horses. So obviously I'm going to have to work a lot to pay for those horse lessons.
100%.
But, I love to camp. I love to go skiing and things like that. When I worked in the corporate world, I would try to get away out to Whitefish, Montana and go skiing every year. I always wanted a Jeep. I'm always jealous of Ruben's Jeep every time I see it. And it's not that I can't buy one. It's just I haven't gotten to the point in my business where I feel comfortable spending that money. to buy that Jeep I've always wanted.
Well, you
So
can always put it under the business name and just write that bad boy off.
I'm already writing off my wife's car too. So
okay, well, that's for another beat more.
yeah, that's right. So scooting on, for me, the big thing is, what is my passion? And that's what I really had to stop and think about. What am I most passionate about? It's helping others and kids. And so you guys will find through my presentation, my real passion is helping people. And I know that sounds super cliche, especially in this, every realtor is, oh, I love to help people. But like, truly, I legitimately love to help people. And it's something that was ingrained in me from a kid. All my neighbors, we all work together. If one neighbor was sick, we go and clean up the neighbor's yard. I mean, that's just something that's always been in me, and that's something I love. And that's something that's going to help when we get to the next slide, too. And then my driving motivation, obviously, is getting more time with my family and my kids, something I did not have in the corporate world. My wife, who's the head of North America project management for the company I was at, she was having to do her job and manage the kids, too, because I didn't have time to help her out. And then, think about what does it mean for me? So for me, eventually, I want to get to the point where I can freely travel and do things that I want to do with my kids. But I know right now is that building phase that I'm having to work through. And then I always think about opportunities. I mean, this year alone, I was able to add 7 rental properties to my portfolio on seller finance, being a realtor. I mean, that's freaking awesome. Like, I would never have the opportunity unless I was a realtor. So that was super exciting. This is retirement planning. We're basically buying up an entire block and then hoping to turn that into apartments later on with another realtor that I worked with. So
what are you going to name the apartments?
Man, I don't know. I got to think about it. It's comes up with something creative, but that kind of thing is just something super cool that you can do.
Let me ask you a question. On the Big Y, was that something that you started off with, or did you just get in grind time and then later decide that, you know what, this is something I need to really focus on? Like, how did the Big Y come about, and why even focus on it?
So interesting enough, and I think it'll come up in the next couple of slides when we get there. But we'll definitely get to the Big Y where it comes from.
Okay, that works.
And then also I thought about who's impacted, and then also there's a success letter and apology letter. So for the first few months, like I talked about, I was at admin, and then I figured I could do this myself, and the other agent had enough confidence in me that they thought I could do it too. So I spun my wheels, and then at the bottom, right there, I got entered into Locker Room University. I normally have my book right here with me. Oh, here it is. So right here in track. So Ruben entered me in Track Plus, held me accountable. That's where I figured out my Big Y. And then also where I found out about the apology letter and also the success letter. And so in that training program, you have to write 2 letters. And one is, hey, in a year, I have succeeded or I have failed. And I can tell you, I'm going to take that failure letter and burn it when that day comes, because I will not fail. And, I really want to succeed. And that's the passion that, you got to have in this real estate business to keep it going. So I met my mentor in July and August. I did my first open house, and it was a really high-end property. And I got that through my mentor with EXP. And while I was standing in the open house, a young couple come in about my age. And I happened to look at the lady when I was talking to her, and she had a hand sanitizer that had my old company's logo on it. And I said, hey, I see your hand sanitizer. Do you work there? She said, no, my sister does. I said, oh, well, who's your sister? And we immediately hit it off like that because I knew her sister, loved her. And what was funny is they texted me the next weekend and they said, hey, can you show us a house? And I said, sure. And I look up the address. It's $810,000 house. And I'm like, oh my God. Like I was expecting like $100,000 house for my first house. And this is $810,000. I go into freak out mode at that point. But that helped me build the confidence I needed as an agent. Because it was a little stressful, but through my mentor and through others, I was able to get through that process. I quit being a secret agent. So I can tell you, and Ruben says this all the time too, as a agent and becoming an agent, I'm like, well, hey, I'm an agent now. Everybody knows I'm an agent. Nobody cares. Nobody knows I'm an agent unless you get it out there. So then that's when I really kicked up my social media through Track. It's kind of that process too, that they said, hey, get up your social media. So I started Maintenance Monday post. So if any of you guys see any of my stuff, I do different posts every single Monday on things around the house, like fixing your caulking. Yesterday or Monday, I did one on your downspouts and things like that. All it is getting my name out there so people know that I am somewhat of an expert in the area of home maintenance and things like that. but also it's giving them and providing value to them. So then I've done about 14 of these Maintenance Monday videos. I do weekly video walkthroughs of any home I'm in. And I will also say, too, I have started doing walkthroughs of just regular homes. So I go when I'm out and about in Oak Ridge, where I'm at. If I see a house that's go and show, I go in there, I make a video of the house, a walkthrough, and I post on YouTube. There are guys out there that are killing it, doing just simple walkthroughs of homes in their area because they look like the expert. People see it on YouTube, and they start going to them as their realtor. And also, it's more personal too. So that's something I'm working on right now. All right. And then everything I do goes on social media, but there's also a blend of my family and work stuff. I don't want to overwhelm people and then get them burned out on, real estate. So I throw goofy videos of my kids or me doing something, things like that. But recently, one thing I'm excited about is I've added a marketing manager because I found out that I love to edit videos and I love to get into the videos, but it's sucking away my lead generation time and that relationship building time. And honestly, I literally hate lead generation. I hate that term. For me, it's relationship building. And that's really what it is. It's reaching out, checking on people, see how they're doing.
Hold on. Just 1 second. Yeah. For anybody who is watching, if you have questions, please ask. Because Scott's here to answer any of those questions for you. And then I'm going to turn to the room. Yeah. Does anyone in here have any questions so far about the open house, about not being a secret agent, and all that stuff that he just mentioned? Any questions? You guys are good? All right. We're good to go.
All right, man. If I start talking too fast, let me know. I get passionate about this.
I'll stop you, but you're doing it. You're doing great.
That's great. I can't see you guys either, so
we can see you. You look amazing.
Just thank you. Just cut me off real quick. So this to me was one of the biggest things that I learned. In fact, I think I was in track training and brought this up, is mindset. So I hate to bother people. Like I literally will go out and do something and almost kill myself before I ask for help for it. And so I kind of took that into the real estate thing. And that's why I would not contact anybody because I'm like, I don't want to bother people. And breaking through that mindset of I'm not bothering people. I'm an expert at what I do. And there are people that need an expert. There are a lot of bad people out there that consider themselves experts. And, I'm new, but I know enough to be dangerous, but also enough that I can help people out or I can find the answer for them. So for me, I had to break that mindset of I'm bothering people when I call them. I am truly here to provide value and help them out, because I've had good friends that had went to a different realtor that have hated their experience. And they were good friends of mine that I should have been talking to and providing value to, but I didn't. And then they end up in a bad situation where I could have been able to help them and get them through the process. So that mindset to me was one of the biggest things, providing guidance. And then, what I learned, and just like it says here, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. So that's why it's going to be me in there that's making the calls, that's generating, new leads and things like that, and helping and providing that value for my friends, family, and my sphere. And then,
I was just going to say real quick, I went to a firm yesterday to kind of put on a class. And that was one of the things, one of the agents was like, I hate bothering people. And I was like, well, change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. You're not necessarily bothering them, but what you're doing is giving them an opportunity. If you don't reach out, you're giving an opportunity for another agent. Oh, by the way, like me, who's going to do a good job of following up, who's going to get them, or worse, just a below average agent that gets a hold of them, just what you said, right? And then now you're sitting back like, golly, man, I should have reached out to them because I could have been there to help them. Now they've got below average help, and who knows how they're being taken care of. So it's a good little mindset switch. Any questions on that, y'all? Because one question came in, so I'm going to just read it real quick. It says, what did you find was a good balance between personal and agent posts on social media?
Yeah. So typically what I do is I've got it scheduled out. So my Mondays are typically my Maintenance Monday videos, just because of the title. Tuesdays, I typically throw in a family thing. Wednesday, like today, I've created a slogan for my real estate company, essentially, and that's expect more. So if you look at my Facebook page, today is a post on, just a general post, whether it's a, an interest rate update. If it's this one's expect more. So what you should expect from your realtor. And then my new slogan. Thursday is going to be probably another family thing. And then Friday is where I post a video walkthrough of something. So this week is going to be on termites because I was doing an inspection on a property that we got under contract and found a bunch of termites and termite damage. So that way I can provide value and people understand and see what termites are, because a lot of people hear about them, they may not know what they are. So yeah. I try to switch it out. And then weekends are typically just family posts and stuff like that.
Got it. So, and for anybody else who's asked questions, who's listening, just keep doing that. Keep asking questions because Scott's available for you right now. Yeah, I used to tell clients back in the day that termites are like birds. They're everywhere. So don't freak out.
Yep.
Which they do, which they do sometimes. I have another question that just came in. I promise we'll finish your slides, but people want to talk to you, man. They want to talk to you. Did you create a business page separate from your personal?
Yeah, so I literally had this question like the first 3 months of being a realtor. I did create a business page eventually. I do most of my stuff through my personal page. I have a business page out there because you want a place for people to put reviews of you on it. So you want that kind of connection there for reviews. But what I do is I share everything from my business page back to my personal page. So that way it still keeps that connection. And then once I've started doing that, I had a lot more traffic that drove to my business page. And at that point, they can see the reviews and things like that. But I keep both and it work both. And then, on the Meta business page, there's a lot of things that you can connect. So like I do with my Instagram. So my Facebook connects to my Instagram. So certain posts connect directly there, like stories. But I also I'm starting to rework things. So things are more Facebook focused and other things are Instagram focused. And then I'm also moving into, trying to post one story a day just because it's free, right? And it keeps you top of mind. It's there at the top of everybody's feed. So I do that every single day. I try to post in at least one thing that pops up. And I've also started working a little bit in YouTube Shorts. But one thing I heard the other day I thought was really cool, and something I will start doing as I plan my post out, is I'm going to switch up the order of my post. So that way, if I'm posting, say, termites today, but I'm going to do my maintenance or a video walkthrough, I may switch that up. So like this will be the end of the month, termites will be here. So that way it doesn't look like you're just pushing everything blank across all platforms. It keeps things fresh as people look at different platforms and things like that. Because if they follow you on Facebook, they probably follow you on Instagram. They may follow you on YouTube. So if you keep that kind of blend going throughout the month, I think it provides more interaction.
Yeah, and you're probably right. I do the same thing on all platforms, which I wonder how that works. And it'd be interesting to hear how that works well with you later down the road. Another thing, and what was I going to say? I was going to say, it was something good. I forgot it. If I think about it, I will let you know. Any questions? All right. You had another question. Oh, this is it. So with this question, we may go deeper into social media later. I will bring this last social media question up and then we'll keep it going. But also reviews. Do you have a system in reviews? Don't talk about the system, but do you have a system to get reviews on that business page?
Yeah, so I actually stole this from the last one.
So what we're going to do, what we may need to do in the future is do another Be More on just how to collect and create, just collect more reviews, because we do a really good job of that too. So maybe that's something we'll do in the future. So for everyone else, keep and stay tuned and subscribe so that way you can get the strategies on how to get more reviews. Boom. Are you scheduling this social media? Are you scheduling this social media days out or doing it organically on the scene?
Yeah, so it's kind of both, right? So my stories are typically organic on the day, but I've started now doing now that I've got a marketing manager that can kind of take some of this off of me.
Right.
She's kind of managing the post for me and also scheduling out on like Facebook. It's on the planner there for Facebook and Instagram. And then YouTube is kind of, I'm still working on that, starting to build that. So that's kind of a little bit more on the spot. But if you can spend a few hours in the month before planning all your events for the next month, and there was a really good 5 pillars training on that. I can't remember the gentleman's name a while back, but he was really good. Spend your time, a few hours, get everything planned up, do your videos, and then you can post it all in your planner, and then you don't have to think about it much for the next month.
Right. You get a lot of good hits on your social media, so that may be another down the road Be More that we'll get into. Nani, we're going to answer your question here in a bit, but I'm going to let him get a little bit deeper into the slides.
Sure. Okay.
You're on You're on. Go.
Let's roll. All right. So another hard lesson that Ruben taught me about 2 or 3 times was managing my calendar and live and die by your calendar. So I block out everything now on my calendar. It's exercise time, time with family. My lead generation time is 2 hours a day, typically in the mornings. But sometimes if other things pop up, I do keep that, and that is a priority on my calendar. So it may get shifted down to the afternoon, but that time is always there. And lead generation, obviously, is just that reaching out to people. I follow the text message method most of the time that Ruben does. I think it just works great. Takes a little bit of that pressure off. People don't want to answer their phone when you call them half the time, or they're busy. So I love that method that Ruben uses. So I've started doing that a lot in what I do. And then, I got 2 hour or an hour total, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon of social media time. It's very hard for me to shut that off during the day because I hear the notifications, but I'm trying to get a little bit better about that. And then also, I do at least one vendor meeting a month or a week, So I'll meet with one of my vendors, have lunch. And then if I can meet from somebody in my sphere, then I will meet with them. And then, during that time, it's like, hey, the vendors typically like, hey, you're providing a lot of value. I appreciate that. I'm like, yeah, if you have anybody that you have, that is looking for a house, anything like that, just let me know. So we kind of have those conversations, keep it, a little okay. I'm not like super high pressure for sure, but those vendor meetings have turned out really well. And I have gotten quite a bit of business from that. So I do recommend that too. And then, anything important should be on your calendar. Ruben, anything else on the calendar I missed?
No, I think that's really good. What would you do if, and maybe I'll throw it, if anyone has questions, ask questions. Do you guys have a question before I ask a question? Because I will keep asking questions. So you've got something blocked out, and you have an because I hear this all the time. You have an emergency, or you have someone who's coming through and is like, wants to interrupt that time that you've already blocked out. What do you do to protect that time and hold guard to that time to ensure that nothing interrupts it?
Yeah, man. So you know me, and that was one of the areas I really, even still now, kind of struggle with sometimes. But what I've started telling people, and in fact, I can't show it right here on my phone, but I do have a thing for when people call me and I'm in like a lock-in time. It's the auto response back text message. It says, "Hey, I'm in a meeting. Can we text or call later?" And Ruben helped me set that up quite a while back. And then also too, it's just, I tell people if there's something going on, hey, I will get with you shortly. I'm in a meeting or something like that. That really helps protect that time. Now, every now and then, something does pop up. Like yesterday, I had to run about 15 minutes away to go meet a contractor because the house that I have under contract had the kitchen fall in from a flooded line. So, nice. And the due diligence is Thursday. So like I needed to meet with him quickly, but I was able to shift some time around there too in my calendar and make it work. But yeah, I always try to tell people, hey, I'm in a meeting. I will get back with you shortly, and just try to get
that's so, and you were able to, the numbers show, right? Like you did pretty well in your first 6 months, and you've accumulated a good amount of rental properties. I think 99 problems that come into our world, y'all know the song, right? Like I know they just played in your head, but out of 100, 99 aren't really a problem. It's only one that might be a problem, but you do a really good job of reflecting it through that auto message and recognizing which one should be interrupting this time. So kudos, my friend.
Yeah, being a firefighter, I want to fight all the fires, or being a former firefighter. So it's tough to and that's what I did in corporate world, man. I was fighting fires all day long. So it's so hard to get out of that mindset that, hey, it's really not a big deal and things can wait.
100%. Now, let me know if you have this coming up, but the question is, what lead generation strategy works best for you? Do you have this one coming up?
I do, yeah.
All right, go ahead. You're good.
All right, let's roll. Speaking of.
That's so funny. All right.
Man, it's like you've already seen my presentation. It must have been in my computer. So let's talk lead gen. And so for me, like I said, I hate lead generation. For me, it's a relationship development, and that's really what it is. It should be your top priority every single day. For me, I follow what they do in track programs, the 5x25. It's 5 real estate conversations a day, 5 social media ads, so friend ads, and then 5 comments. And then I'm trying to also get back into the 10 letters a week. And I'm super excited because I got my own personal stamper now. So this just came in last night. So now I don't have to keep writing and cramping up my hands anymore. So I follow that for my lead generation. I also started doing the 7 days of pain for the people that don't reply. I can tell you, as someone that hates to bother people, 7 days of pain is legitimately painful. But if they don't respond back, it doesn't hurt me. But I will tell you, it has worked. And I had one person that I hit them up in day 7. They finally come back and said, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry, I had this going on. Thanks for following up, but this is what I need." So
Yes.
it legitimately works.
Yeah.
And painful it is, as it is for me, it works. And the person was thankful that I did follow up. So that helped once again on that mindset is, hey, you're really here to provide support and value to follow up with people because sometimes life gets in the way and things get busy. So that was good to hear that person. Now I will say a lot of people never respond, but those are typically like the online leads that aren't going anywhere anyways, kind of window shopping. My number one priority or number one way of doing lead gen is text messages. It's super easy, as Ruben's always said too. It kind of takes the pressure off. So I can text somebody. If they get back to me in an hour, that's great. If they don't, that's fine. I had one guy text me like 2 weeks ago, and I texted him 2 weeks ago, "Hey, checking in. How was your cruise over Christmas?" Never responded back, and then checked in again. "Hey man, how you doing?" And he like responded back immediately. "Hey man, thanks for checking in. Sorry to get back with you. Hey, I want to buy a house." So I met with him last night and his wife. Just like, text message. It works great. Emails, I do that sometimes. Facebook Messenger, I will do a lot of stuff through Facebook Messenger too. And then I always make sure any text message and things like that I save into my CRM. And then one thing I thought was really cool from Ruben in our last conversation too. And Ruben, I'm throwing you a lot of kudos today, but I mean, a lot of this is thanks to you. One thing I do on my lead or in my KV core is when I put some really important piece of information there, I pin it to the top of my KV core. So that way I can see it like family names and things, because I am really bad about remembering names sometimes. So when I do that lead generation or I'm calling somebody, I can quickly look and see, what their daughter's name is, what their granddaughter's name is, those kind of things. That was super helpful. The picture, I'm just going to jump to the picture on the right here. I literally was just lead generating the other day, and I just like, "Hey, I hadn't talked to Kai in a while. Hey, Kai, how are you doing?" It legitimately looks like it's scripted from him, but that's how he talks. But just general, "Hey, man, how you doing? Did you get married yet?" Kind of as a haha joke because I know he's been dating this girl for a while. And immediately he's like, "Hey, I got a nonprofit that needs a business. It's going to buy a building. I need some help. I want to buy a house. Thanks for checking in." Like from a text message. So there's no reason you can't send text messages to people. Another thing I started doing, I kind of thought was kind of cool, and it's actually started to generate a little bit of stuff, is I do Loom video valuation. So if anybody's seen Loom, it records you and records your screen. So for example, I love the door knock sometimes too. So I met a couple of people in my last door knocking, like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about, selling my house in a little bit." So I go back home, I do a full CMA for them, and then also give them a seller net sheet, and I record it all and walk them through the process right there. And then I send them either with a text message link or email link, or what I'll do is I'll write them a handwritten card and say, "Hey, thank you for taking time for meeting with me today. It was a real pleasure. I put a QR code here that you can scan to a personal video that I made for you with your home valuation." And they scan that QR code. It has worked every single time. Everybody has looked at that QR code. So, I mean, that's pretty fantastic whenever you send that out, and people always look at it. Or I'll text message people and say, "Hey, I made this video for you." And it alerts me once the person sees it. So I know they're looking at it. So that's the cool part.
Yeah.
So I do recommend that. I heard that on a podcast. Networking, I am now part of the Merchants of Oak Ridge. So it's local small businesses. So I'm networking with them. Also looking at, now that I have some free time, where can I provide value? Where can I volunteer in the community? It's another way to get your name out there. Track your stats. I have spreadsheets, but I also have a dashboard that I work off of. And Ruben, if we have some time, I'll show you guys my dashboard.
Okay.
But going back to follow up, like Ruben said, that is the biggest thing. And that's where I got burned with one of my friends recently. Is a very good friend of mine. He'd been telling me all last year, "Hey man, when we sell our house, I'm going to let you sell it." So I was thinking, okay, piece of cake. I see this guy, once a month, and we drink a beer. It's great. He's going to call me. Then he calls me 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago and was like, "Hey man, I'm going to have somebody else sell my house." And I was like, "What?" Like, I mean, it messed up our friendship. It was that serious. He's like, because initially it's like, "Oh, hey man, we're going to help. I'm going to help your small business." And then he's like, and then when he called me, he said, "Hey, I want to go with independent person. I don't want anything comes between our friendship." And a guy that is a mutual friend, his girlfriend snuck in there one night while they were all out partying, and then got the deal. out from under me. So I was mad about that.
Who else did that happen to? Raise your hand.
Man, it was so frustrating. And, he was like, well, I didn't want to have to yell at you. I'm like, dude, your house is a piece of cake. It was beautiful. Like, it was sold like that. But anyways, that was on me.
Did you bring the buyer?
What's that?
Did you bring the buyer?
No, didn't bring the buyer for that one.
Okay. You're like, he's showing this property? Not just in case he's watching. He's all good.
Yeah. But like I said, I didn't follow up. I just assumed I was getting that sale. And somebody else snuck in there and stole it out from under me. That's on me. And anyway, very frustrating. Do the follow-up. Always, like Ruben said, your database is your data bank. So you got to get your database right. I am ashamed to say that I did not have all my contacts on my phone in my database. I realized that the other day. So they are all in there now. And then also I wear my my nerd badge that says I'm a realtor everywhere I go. So I don't have it on me right now, but when I'm out at the grocery store, Lowe's, doesn't matter, pick up the kids. And it's so many people have asked me, hey, you're a realtor. What do you think about the market? What do you think about this? Just because I've had that badge on. So I do recommend people wear that out. Any questions on that piece?
Any questions on that? Who's got a realtor badge? Look at this.
I have a shirt. I have all sorts of like.
Oh, shirts, yeah.
And hoodies.
Do you? Okay, that's a good question. I got a pin that's in my pocket. Do you? Is someone? I have someone raising their. Oh, they're raising their hand that they do. That's great. I don't anymore either. That's interesting. We do wear T-shirts, but do you have T-shirts with a brand or maybe a quote that also talks about real estate? And if so, oh, you don't?
No, not yet. I'm working on getting some T-shirts. I hadn't got there yet, but I want to buy the North Carolina real estate one. You gotta like.
Yeah. So where did you get your realtor badge?
So there's a website called Name Badges International.
Hold on.
Super
you need a affiliate code before. Maybe later he'll drop the affiliate code. You guys can get one as well.
Hey, I did get the affiliate codes since I'm on YouTube now.
Heck yeah. Cool.
So yeah, any extra streams of revenue. All right.
Agreed.
Any other questions you guys have?
Any other questions so far on the lead gen part, the door knocking? Obviously, he's pretty big on the database, which is pretty cool. And you don't have to feel ashamed that you didn't have everybody in there. It took me 5 years to finally put everyone into a database. So this is why I tell people you can get started at any time on this. And as long as you stay consistent with it, you'll be fine. I love that you're tracking your stats as well. I would love to see what that looks like.
Sure.
And if we have time, we have about 30 minutes, but fingers crossed we do have time because I'm a nerd numbers guy.
Yeah, me too. All right, so shooting out, I know we did talk about social media just a little bit, but I think one of the biggest things here that you guys can do is determine your audience. And that's one thing I'm trying to kind of hone in right now is what is specifically the audience I'm trying to target. And so I'm in, Oak Ridge, North Carolina. It's a little bit higher end area. So I'm trying to refocus a little bit how I work my social media to kind of focus in on that niche market. And so what I'm doing is like kind of those video walkthroughs of like high-end homes saying, hey, this is what looks good. This is what doesn't look good. I'm kind of surprised the builder didn't do this or that kind of thing, try to provide that value. The constant posting on social media every day, you should be doing a story every single day. Always try to provide value however you can. Something that's funny, like my first Maintenance Monday video was on how to replace your water filter for your house if you're on a well water. And I literally, after the big freeze the other day, I had a lady come to me because one of her pipes busted. And she come over and knocked on my door. The plumber had fixed her pipes, but never changed her filter, and it was all clogged. So she come over to my house and knocked on my door and said, hey, can you come fix my filter? I saw your video, but I just can't unscrew it. So I was like, hey, somebody watched my video. And then my well froze. So I posted immediately a social media video on how to defrost your well because I was doing it. So these things, can be organic. They can happen right on the spot. So if you're doing something that provides value, film it, put it out there. People love that stuff. But
Scott, I don't like the way I look or sound on video.
Let me tell you, my first 10 videos, I probably recorded 20 times. And then I learned it doesn't matter. As long as you're providing value, it doesn't have to be high-end production. People don't care about things that look good. It's all about the value you're providing to folks. And that's why even if you screw up 9 times out of 10, you're the only one that knows you're going to screw up. So push on through and get the video out there, because if it sits on your phone or your computer, you get that many views, you get that many leads, and it provides no value for you.
Love it.
All right. Spend time planning posts. That's something I'm starting to do now with my marketing manager. I did a lot of things that were haphazard, like as I'm doing things, and then there'd be a lot of editing time and stuff like that, and it took away from the lead gen piece. So really try to plan your stuff out. Start a YouTube channel. I've heard from so many people that do YouTube that their best leads come from YouTube, and it's because it's more personal and you can get your information out there, and you can really talk to people, and they can learn who you are on a personal level, which I really like. So that's why I started the YouTube channel, because I want people to know who is Scott and what I do and what I provide for folks.
Yeah, 100%. And for anyone, and maybe yourself, it also can become a form of leverage. So if you do have somebody who wants or has a question about that plumbing issue that you had, you can say, hey, listen, I have a video on this. Watch this video, and after that, let me know the 2 or 3 things that you got out of that video, and I'd love to set up a call.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, it's super professional, and it's leverage for you to turn a conversation into this to this.
Yeah. And so from the leverage piece too, I think there's another important piece there is not, if you're door knocking 3 hours a day, you're door knocking 3 hours a day, right? If you post a YouTube video out there, that thing is running 24/7. So it's constantly providing value to people. It's constantly putting your information out there. So that's going to bring people back to you. And then also, it's like constantly lead generating. So the more information you get out on a place like YouTube, where things last forever, really, it's constantly providing that value and doing that lead gen, where, things like Facebook and Instagram kind of die off after 24 hours. YouTube is constantly going.
100%.
Right.
Real quick question before moving to your next slide. What is best CRM? So what is the best CRN? I think that meant CRM. Yeah. I got an answer to that, but I want to hear yours.
Well, hey, man. So for me, I use KV Core because it's free. It's there. I like it for the most part. I haven't dove into it as much as I want to. I also use a program called Smartsheet, and you guys will see Smartsheet in a minute. And I used to use that for my CRM before I switched over to KV Core. So I'll turn that over to you, Ruben, because I don't know a lot about all the CRMs.
What CRMs do you guys use? Which KV Core? Looks like I know you use KV Core. See, KV Core across the board here, but and some of y'all could already attest to this, what I'm about to say, and y'all could probably pull the words right out of my mouth, which is the best CRM. It sounded like over the mic, but it was the best CRM is the one you use.
Yep.
Period. You just got to use it. All right, all you.
All right. And then, so metrics. So I'm a data guy. I love data. In fact, I have a consulting business on the side where I help companies with data and metrics. In fact, I get to work with NC State right now too, which is kind of cool. I'm with their provost office. But cool. It was cool until real estate really picked up, and now I'm like, hey guys, I don't really have that much time anymore. I appreciate it. So now I'm going to hire somebody for Smartsheet. So I'm going to have to hire that out, but leveraging out an extra income stream, that kind of thing. But always know your numbers, determine what is and isn't working, and then also give it time too. So, I tried the Facebook ad thing. It didn't work for me, but I only gave it just a little bit of time. I probably should really fill it out a little bit more. But what I've learned is my sphere gives me the most business, and I can provide so much more support for the sphere that I have. So I've actually backed off of all advertising, and I'm just really focusing on my people in my CRM and really building those relationships. You got to think what your hourly rate is too. For me, I can make, so on my January closings right now, I'm on track for right about 24,000 GCI, which is, if I work 40 hours a week, then that would be like $150 an hour. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But my consulting business, I can only make $100 an hour. So it's like, what provides more value? What's my better hourly rate? And obviously it's focusing in on real estate and then helping people there. And then how much you need to keep your lifestyle, know your finances, track your budget numbers, and then also marketing. I think I spent about 10% last year of my budget on marketing. I might kick that up a little bit more, just to really want to focus in on the good areas for where I should put my money at. And then, watch out for meals and entertainment too. I'm an in-person person, so I like to be there. I like to, hey, let's go get a beer. Let's go hang out for lunch. Let's, do those kind of things. So my meals and entertainment gets a little bit higher, but I like that personal connection when I go out and about.
That's
So,
awesome. I think we need to do a class later on metrics. I would love to see how you're tracking your hourly rate and just really everything behind your own metrics, especially if you're doing it on a professional level for a university. I bet that would be sick to see.
yeah, I got to spend more time in there and get everything punched out. But yeah, I'll definitely show you that. And then this is just some other things too. One thing I'm terrible about is script practice. I like to be more authentic when I talk to people, but it's also good to have an idea of how to respond to certain things. So, reading scripts, understanding if there's, somebody says, well, I don't know about this, having a way to respond that's true to you, that's really authentic, and doesn't sound like a robot, but making sure that you have ways to respond instead of just the sit back and I don't know. So script practice is very important. I'm terrible at it. I need to get better. Open houses. I have any EXP agent in my area I have reached out to and said, hey, can I host an open house for you? Because if you're looking for somebody like a buyer right now, they are in open houses. They're checking those out. So that's one of the easiest ways. Now, I will tell you, I'm also terrible at open houses and cannot get anybody's information at them. So that's another way I'm trying to get better at what I'm doing. I'm constantly learning. I'm always trying to better my business and better myself through education. Track has some great open house stuff that I'm in. So if you guys aren't in Track Plus, 100% you need to do it. I've learned so much in that program, and it's really elevated my business for sure.
You're doing it again.
I'm doing it again. I loved it so much the first time. I'm doing it again. But make sure you attend all the classes. Then join your community organization, take a vendor to lunch every single week, and one thing I didn't do in the beginning was handle my business. So I was running my business, but I wasn't digging into my business. I didn't know my numbers. I didn't know my metrics and things like that. And then I didn't spend time, getting my financial stuff in order. So I didn't know what I was spending. So once a week now on Friday mornings, I'm spending that time to kind of go through my financial information, making sure everything's in line and not missing anything either. So that was really it, man. My wonderful presentation there.
I love it. A few takeaways for me, and then I'll throw it at everyone else to get ready. But a few takeaways is, one of the things we focused on fourth quarter last year was basically what's going to be the play in 2023. And do y'all remember the play, what the acronym is? Me's part of it. COM, right, which is COM, or comms in the military community, right? But it's COM, which is community, which I have seen a lot where you wrote community on all these slides, it feels like almost, going back into the community, meeting people, drinking a beer with them. The entertainment and meeting budget is higher because of that, which is awesome. The open house. And it sounds like you had success at the open houses, or at least starting to get more into hosting those and calling all the EXP agents. And by the way, anybody watching at any firm, call anyone at your firm and start doing. And honestly, EXP, call another firm. It doesn't matter. Usually, most people are open to that and doing open houses. And then meet. So meeting people, going out and meeting people within the community and setting those one-on-one meetings and having those conversations. So I kept seeing that as a theme, which was really cool to see. And I'm sure Jake Dixon would love all the Track Plus high five plugs as well. But throwing it back at everyone else, what did you guys get out of this? And everyone watching too, what did you guys get out of this? And I'll post it on the screen, and then Scott can answer any questions or anything like that. What did you guys get?
When he says knocking doors, is that considered cold leads?
When you're knocking doors, is that considered cold leads for you?
Yeah. I mean, it really is kind of. So, I go around, I knock on doors, I take my card with me. I thought about getting, hangers and things like that. But so, for example, I knocked this neighborhood that's right over here, not too far from me, knock on every single door, walk by. Unfortunately, the first time I did it, I was in the heat of summer. So it's like 95 degrees. Everybody felt bad for me. I was out there sweating to death.
That's perfect.
But I was new agent, right? So it's like, what are you going to do? But yeah, I knock on the door. I, have the conversation. Hey, I'm Scott. I'm a local realtor. Here to see if you guys have any questions about the market. Do you know anybody that's interested in buying or selling, that kind of thing? A lot of times they say no. And I say, well, here's my card. Reach out if you ever need anything. And then once I have that conversation with the person, I immediately punch it into my smart sheet. So that way I have the location and I pull their information from GIS at that point, and then I send them a card. Like the next following day, I write a handwritten card and say, hey, listen, I know a lot of people don't want to not open the doors when somebody's knocking, but I truly appreciate the time that you spent, talking to me. And please let me know if you have any questions. Here's my information. And then 3 months later, I follow up with a Loom video of a video evaluation of their home, especially if they say they're going to sell.
Sick.
And just kind of, and all that goes to my CRMs as task. So I set those tasks up so that way it reminds me every time when I need to do that.
That's an awesome play. It's a very simple play, but it sounds like it's effective.
What's the success rate on that? Like,
What's your conversion rate on that? Guesstimation.
Not very good right now. So like I said, it is a work in progress, but I've had a lot of people pretty interested, and it kind of keeps you at top of mind, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't utilize it quite as much as
that leads to another question. And obviously, if you're ready to ask a question, I'm going to come straight to you. But what would you say is your number one lead generation, highest conversion source?
Text message.
Text message through your CRM?
Yeah, I will also say the social media has really done well. And people, I've gotten a lot of leads from my sphere that see me on social media and then recommend me to somebody else. So that's been my highest so far. And even colleagues that I used to work with, they see my social media posts because I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn because my clientele is kind of that white collar working group that I'm trying to go after. So I want to be on LinkedIn because that's where they're at, right?
Right.
That's who I'm trying to spread everything across all the platforms.
Probably why I don't get too much grip on LinkedIn because I'm wearing Wu-Tang shirts on LinkedIn. But
yeah, LinkedIn's tough. I'm still trying to crack that code.
Yeah. But we're live on LinkedIn right now as well. Did I have a follow-up question to that? Oh, no, I will say this statement, which is something that we echo as well, which is it's not necessarily the person you're talking with in your CRM. It's their circle of influence. That's what you're really looking to go after. And you just talked about that. So it's great. Do you guys have any other questions?
Yeah, I will say, since I post things on Facebook, I do try to provide that value. And like I got a great client the other day that was working with a really terrible realtor. And she said, hey, this lady that she works with, sees my stuff on Facebook. She likes what you do. Can you work for me? And I said, well, it depends if you're in a contract and all that kind of stuff. But, it worked out to be, I'm closing on her home this Friday. And it's all because I'm out there and really trying to provide value to people on Facebook, and they see that stuff. And then they know that, hey, Scott's top of mind. He's a realtor. Let's, send him any people. And so it works out really well for me. And I've had that happen a few times. In fact, when I just got under contract in Oak Ridge, was a former colleague of mine that sees my videos and stuff like that on Facebook and reached out because he knows that, when I go in there, any of my clients, their money is my money. And I go in, I inspect the full house, especially since I'm an investor. So I go into the crawl spaces. I go into every single attic. Like most realtors won't do that, but that's the value I provide for my clients. Because I can tell you, if you go into a crawl space, you find out a lot of stuff about the house that most people will never find out because the realtor will only open the door and follow them around the house. So
yeah, that's a good point. And the opportunity lies in where the crowd's not going. So quick raise of hands, who goes in crawl spaces for their clients? Okay, so we have 3 out of 12 people in here. So that shows there's a gap in that opportunity. So it's great, and I love that. 3 of you guys raise your hands too.
And what's funny is I met with those buyers last night, and I said, hey, every house you go into, I go in the crawl space in the attic, and they looked at me like, you go in the crawl space? Like shocked. And I'm like, hey, I have stopped buyers from buying houses before because I tore open the crawl space door, crawled under there, and the entire subfloor is soaking wet. Like, do you want to find that out now or after you drop $5,000 or $10,000 in due diligence, and now you're trying to figure out if you're going to back out or not? Like that value I provide for my clients that most agents will never do. And so that's one thing I feel about too.
We did that, and we looked underneath the home, and this was buyer's market, by the way, buyer's market at this time. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of standing water under here. We're going after a pump. Like they have to agree to a pump before we move further with this thing. And of course they did because it was a buyer's market. The sellers were like, we'll buy 14 pumps. Just buy the home. But yeah, looking in there is huge. And of course they appreciated that as well. which that's also a failure because that was within my first 5 years. Didn't follow up with them. They end up using another agent to sell the home later, but we brought the buyer's agent, or we brought the buyer. We were like, "You're still gonna sell this thing? You can't ignore me." And now he's on, obviously, follow up within the database. But other ahas, things that you got out of, because man, you killed it, dude. Seriously, that was a great job of like breaking it all down. But any ahas, anybody who's watching, any ahas in this room?
Is there a certain like software you use that goes for like social media?
Do you use software for posting on social media?
So I use Canva. I think that's kind of the consistent thing. I tell you what, if you guys are doing any social media, I 100% think you should spend the money for Canva Pro, because I get so much, like, it's so easy to make things. It's so well done, and you can post directly from Canva to your social media sites. I mean, it's like $100 a year, and I paid the extra $26 for my marketing manager to join the team. 100% worth the money. I try to do it free for a long time, but Canva rocks. And it was funny. So I was trying to do iMovie for my YouTube. You can do almost everything in Canva and then post it up from there. So it's really awesome.
You need an affiliate code for Canva.
Yeah, no doubt.
Second thing, so my wife's sitting right here. Wow, I got that perfect first name.
Oh, good,
Sitting
yeah.
right here, and she paid for Canva. And I was like, "Why are you paying for Canva?" And she's back there like,
Yeah. Hey, I've seen her stuff. It looks good. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. A few questions that came, and if you have questions or ahas, please, we're going to still get to them. We still have 8 minutes, and we can totally do that. Question came in earlier. Can you give more info on Track Plus? I will say that is the locker room coaching program or course. If your firm doesn't have it, just DM one of us and we can have that conversation. If you just want the course, DM one of us and we can have that conversation as well. But it's a course out of a coaching program. Here's a question. Nate asks, did you, and this is one of our agents in Florida, so if you got any other Florida referrals, reach out to Nate. Did you do the CTAs or the call to actions weekly, or find that maybe giving them a break and doing them every 2 weeks, etc.?
Yeah, so the call to actions on the videos, is that, I think that's what he's referring to there. Yeah, so I'm working on that. So, there's a program I'm actually thinking about joining right now, all on social media, and how to kind of build that. So, Nate, I'm really working on that call to action piece. And really what I've done is I'm kind of posting videos for so long, but I never did that call to action and getting that engagement piece that I'm now trying to rework in my YouTube videos. So, like yesterday, I did a walkthrough of a $769,000 house here in Oak Ridge. And in my call to action, I'm like, hey, if you guys like the video, or if you've seen anything, comment below. So really trying to drive that comment, trying to drive that engagement in what you're doing is going to really help, one, get your videos up higher where they're at, but also, get that engagement, get you, I want to be the person that if you comment on my videos, I'm going to be the one that responds back to you, and makes it a little bit more personal. So I don't know if I really answered Nate's question there, but I'm working on the call to action. So I think it's really important.
Yeah, and I'll say
all my videos.
Yeah, if people are there and they want to support you, give them the directions on how to support you. It's going to make it a lot easier, and the less friction. You guys may hear me say this all the time. The less friction, the better. So just show them what they're looking for. But also, maybe if your question was also asking this, I think it's going to depend on per person within the database of how often you should be doing call to actions.
Gotcha.
Some people, yeah. If Scott and I mean, we're okay friends. I mean, we go at it all the time. But if we were super, super tight, which we are, I'm just joking. That was a bad joke. Literally no one laughed. But if we were like, we're super, super tight, I'm probably going to do all call to actions in the first week or in the first few weeks, because we're cool like that. I can do that. If we're still warming up to the relationship, then yeah, just spread them out a little bit. This is why I like what we do. It's not a drip campaign necessarily to where they're going to get hit no matter what. You get to kind of gauge that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I fill out my client or my vendors, my clients, and all that for the call to actions, kind of see where they're at. The same thing. But if I'm providing value to my vendor, I will absolutely ask for them to, hey, listen, I'm giving you this business. What do you have? That kind of thing, in a good way, in a very nice way over beer, right? But
Yeah,
you know,
right.
it's like if I'm providing a lot of value to you, you should be providing. Like my insurance guy, I throw him a lot of business because he's excellent at what he does. He saves my clients tons of money, but he also has a huge database too, and he has an insurance letter that goes out every month. So now I'm going to be writing articles for his insurance that now increases my reach, to all his clients too. So those are things that I'm looking at doing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. We have 4 minutes, so this is gonna be like a rapid fire thing.
Sure.
Jamie, miss you, brother. What was your greatest challenge in your first 6 months? I love that question.
Yeah. So, for me, it was the mindset for me. Like that's once I had that breakthrough in the mindset piece that I'm not bothering people, I'm helping people, and I have value to provide people. To me, that was the hardest thing to get over. And when it finally happened, it was like all the lights come on, and I'm like, quit worrying about bothering people. Be here, do what you love to do, provide that value, and then your business is going to grow, but also you're going to be able to help a lot of people too. So for me, and I think it was in like a track day or something like that, I mentioned, I was like, that to me was the biggest and hardest obstacle for me to get over, was getting that mindset right, that I'm here to help.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna throw it back to you guys. Any ahas or anything that you guys want to say, talk about, any questions you might have?
I think the emphasis on the database, that's important. I think that's really nice to hear from this perspective.
Emphasis on database, and it was really nice to hear from your perspective of how important it was.
Yeah, it's one thing I didn't value enough in the beginning, and I think after you beat it into me about 10 times, I finally got it. And now, like my database is always pulled up. And what's funny too is, since I'm doing my lead generation, I track my lead generation metrics too. So I have a daily tracking smart sheet that's pulled up too, and I'm entering data into the form. So one piece goes in my CRM, the other piece goes into my metrics, so I can see exactly what I'm doing. And if I start dropping, and I see the numbers dropping, then I know I need to get back on it and pick it up some.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're going to definitely do a metrics thing, because I'll share my spreadsheet and you'll share yours, and we can kind of mastermind live. Sure. I think that'd be really cool. This may be the last question. If someone can slide, give your ahas. But I joined late. But did you start real estate while working full time? If so, how did the transition go? You have 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes. No, I quit cold turkey on my old job because I knew if I didn't cut the cord, I wouldn't commit to it 100%. Now, I did have money saved up for that time, so in case it took a while, and it did take a while too, but I knew if I didn't cut the cord, and then I would never give it 100%. And it's kind of a sink or swim thing. And so I jumped in with both feet, and thankfully haven't looked back. Now, I do have that side business I started that goes back into the safety consulting, what I used to do, but I've been doing that since October, or actually way before that. I literally just got paid the other day for the first time. So it didn't help me at all. I spent more time wasted that I could have been doing real estate stuff in that. So no, I 100% jumped in. I think that's really the best way to do it. So unless you have a great job and you want to do it partially for a little while to build up your database a little bit, then quit. But I think you have to jump in and fully commit to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in that pressure, right? I know that, you may hear in society that, what is it? Not pressure. There's a word for it. When you are back against the wall, you're feeling rock bottom, defeated, all these words to where you're like, golly, I cannot think of the word. But I think honestly, there's a negative feeling on that, but I think it's one of the best feelings that you can have, because it's the pressure that pushes you against the wall that makes you to accomplish those things no matter what. You have to, or what else, right? The ship sinks. That's the other option. So I love that you cut it cold turkey. I didn't realize you did that. So that's awesome. It is 10:30. Tell everyone, I know you had the slide, but tell everyone where they can follow you, see those cool videos that you put up. I will tell everyone that I'm going to get up with you after this. We're going to do a metrics conversation. I think that would be killer, but tell everyone where they can follow you.
Yeah. So, I mean, anywhere, Facebook, YouTube, all that at Gray Mac Realty. So it's GRAYMAC Realty. So anywhere you get on there, you can Google it, Gray Mac Realty. I should be popping up right now because I'm a verified agent now on Google. So you should be able to find me right there. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man. We're going to have a little bit more ahas in here, but I appreciate it, brother. And I'll reach out to you after all of this as well. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
You got it. See you, man.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.